I'm going to speak it into existence for myself. Because I can open gateways of dimensional alignment through true tonal expressions of my voice. I found out very long ago that the neurological pathways of your mind that you might see in your brain, but they're not actually, they join into your mind. Your mind is outside of your brain, but your brain's a part of the mind. But as you've been programmed as a child through, fallen structure of language, I mean, you read about the Tower of Babel and how language was chopped and changed and specialised into different tribal groups, and everyone became disassociated from the mind of God and the true creative language because of the corruption of the priesthoods and of the corruption of the teaching, which was restructuring language. And as certain words or tonal frequencies were spoken to the children, it reprogrammed the neural net of their mind, and they were reaching different constellations of thought and creating different energetic patterns of construction of a hologram. So I realised that it's very important to find the true language of creation that brought us forth into true manifestation originally, before there was a corruption. So I said, I'm going to speak to myself true word, true word expressions. If you saw the 144 letters, I don't call it the alphabet, but we know the alphabet's got 26. If you saw the 144 elements of speech, they're the same 24 elements of the elemental kingdom. They're on the periodic table. So as you would speak frequencies and tones, you would be creating new elemental reconstitution of groups of thought that would make different substance manifestation in your holographic creation. So you could actually blend words in a very precise manner to create the hologram that you wanted to live within in a restructuring that was under the power of your own mind through the knowledge of the language. And I'm endeavouring to find this language, to speak. I mean, in my book, I write a little bit about some of the things that happened. And the first chapter of the book, I write an experience about my mother. Now, you're putting your mother on the line. I actually rang her up and said, Mum, is it all right if I use this one in the book, And she said, oh, okay then, yes. So what happened with me, my mother was in hospital. This is going back about 6 years ago or something like that. And she was about to have 2 knee joints completely cut out and titanium knee joints put in. Now that's a massive operation, right? And I don't think I'd like to go through that ordeal myself. I mean, the thought of it, it makes me cringe. And my mother obviously was cringing as well, because she'd worn her legs out. She used to do a lot of walking and up mountains and down valleys, and she walked all her life. And she had worn her knees out, and so she needed to get it done. She made a decision, I'm going to do it, right? But she was sitting in her hospital room the night before the operation. She was fasting, not eating anything, sitting there meditating, or she wasn't a spiritual person in as much as she would confess that, but she must have been having her own inner meditation anyway, because everything is like that. But she was sitting there, and I'm in Melbourne, you see, and my mum at that time was in Christchurch in New Zealand, in a hospital there, and she was waiting, for the operation the next day. And I'm sitting there and I'm writing a book, and whenever I got into a sacred space of my own energetic field, I would be writing a book, and I'd be in a very present state. And so anyway, I felt this energy rush into me. It's like, that's Mum. I knew it straight away, and she was crying out for help. She's very unsure of herself about what was going to happen, and she was very fearful and things like that. And so I sensed it instantaneously, and I knew it was her, and I knew exactly what it was about. And so anyway, I spun around in this chair I'm sitting at the moment. I spun around, and I faced towards New Zealand. In other words, I sort of looked eastward, and I extended my hands out in a gesture of expression of energy to comfort her in a time of need. And I sort of visualised me putting my hands on her knees, right, and extending my peace to her, and hoping that she'd feel good in herself, and everything was going to be alright for her. regarding the decision that she'd made, you know. So anyway, that was that. I sort of let that happen, and that happened, you know, a minute or two of sort of energy rushed through me and just went, you know. I mean, we know energy exchange is something of the separation anyway, but it was an instantaneous communication on many fields or dimensions of energy. And I thought no more about it, and about 3 weeks later, my mum rang up, you know, from New Zealand. She's out of hospital, starting to recover, etc., etc. And she says, look, she said, I'll have to tell you this, you know, it's like, I wouldn't mention it, except, you know, it's so real to me and I can't not tell you, you know, it's like, I have to tell you. And so I said, well, what are you talking about? She says, well, you know, the night before I was in the hospital, and this strange thing happened to me. You know, it happened, and I just have to tell you, you know. So anyway, what happened was, she'd been, you know, in the room, and next thing, in the ensuite, or the little toilet room, the bathroom there, on the side of her, you know, her hospital room, there was a hell of a ruckus going on in the little room. And so she called the nurse, and the nurse came running in, you know, and opened the door and then shut the door, and then, wow, what's going on? And the nurse ran away and got another nurse. So the two nurses came, you see. And so they went into this little chamber, the bathroom, and there were two white doves manifested in the ensuite. Pure white doves manifested. And I didn't know I was creating doves. It was just like I was creating peace for her. I was creating, you know, putting my energy to her to say, look, you know, I'm with you, kind of thing. Like, I bless you, or whatever it was, you know. And anyway, two snow white doves manifested in the room. And so she had to tell me. She couldn't resist it because, you know, the nurses were saying, well, what do you think did this? How did this happen? And my mum said, well, I think Grant is thinking about me. So she knew we had a connection, like she knew I did it, or it happened through my, you know, how do you say, my mediumship. It's not a very good word, I suppose, but it's like I happen to be a medium for conveying an energy, you know, towards her. And she knew it, and I knew it, because she had to tell me. It was like a witness coming back to me that this happened. If she never told me, I would never have known what had happened through, what I did at that time, or what happened through me. And so it's always very, very wonderful when a report comes back to you that something's happened. You know, there's a sign that what you've done in the world has made a change, and that there's something's working through you that maybe you didn't know you could do, or, you know, before. Or whatever. Well, I've had many, many things like that happen to me. You know, it's like transporting my body to different places. Boom, here I am, what am I doing here? It's like, oh wow, what's going on here? And things like that. I mean, I didn't sort of instantly go there through my own deliberate intention, although I know I used to be able to do that in some other space-time continuums. I must have used to be able to do that because it's genetically encoded into me, and there's an energy imprint of that working in me. And I know we all used to do that kind of thing before we got corrupted in our files, you know, before the computer files of our hologram got corrupted and bound down into a depravity. We used to do lots of things, and we were on an evolutionary path of consciousness, an ascending consciousness of writing line upon line, strand upon strand. Through the time cycles, we were loading our hologram with perfect experiential living memory matrix expressions that were joined together as, you know, things that we could do, and we still have those things filed away somewhere in a mainframe computer just beyond our reach. And that's what we're doing when we realign ourselves. We're realigning ourselves with those higher parts that can do these kind of things and experience life on a much greater level of enjoyment, you know. And so my endeavour is to reconnect into the living memory matrix, those parts of myself that are simultaneously existing as the living memory matrix that's joined to God's source, that are good things, you know, they're wonderful things. And I'm in the process now of deliberately undoing those vain imaginations that have been energetically imprinted into my holographic templates, which don't serve me. I don't want them. You know, I don't want the limitations of working by the sweat of the brow. You know, I don't want to have to put something from the outside to the inside. I don't want to make the hologram out there real, that hologram of decay where I might have to put food into my mouth, to put, protein chains, minerals, elements from an exterior form, dissolve it through my stomach and intestines into my blood to feed my cells from the outside of my cells, because my cells are able to be fed from the inside, and I'm able to distribute that energy through the system of the body as it upgrades itself into greater communication. I'm able to draw through the very centre and core of creation within every atom and particle of every atom, the full manifestation of the expression of the life that flows through the substance of reality. I'm able to draw it up and fill myself. I don't want to put information from the outside in. I want to inform the outside. I want to outpicture my own reality, not a shared unreality that's been loaded into my hologram.